Hi, my name is Maya Smith, and today I'll be making a crossover cable and a straight through cable. Um, so I have some of my materials laid out in front of me, but I'll just go ahead and show you guys or show you what I have. So you're gonna need these are RJ45 connectors. You're gonna need a wire stripper, which is this. And then you're going to be needing a crimper to crimp the connector to the cable. And then you're going to need some cable cords, like this. One's without anything on it. So I have already made one of each cable. I've made a straight through and a crossover cable. But for this video, I'll create another one of each again, just to show how we have to make it. And I also have a cable tester that I will use to test my cable to see if it actually works. Okay. Sorry. So let me just go ahead and start with the straight through. So the straight through is pretty easy to do. It follows the same pinup with the color scheme. It follows the same thing on each end, which makes it a straight through because it's the same on both ends. So first off, we're gonna start off with our cable at one end. Obviously, you're gonna cut the piece, the surrounding like protective part around it. Cut it to expose the wires inside. But make sure you don't cut the actual wires, because this crimper is pretty sharp. It has a little part to cut it, so just make sure you don't cut the actual wire though, because then you will have to start over. And also make sure you have a good length of cable, just in case you do mess up, because if you move too fast you might mess up and then you'll just have to start over. And you want to make sure you have it long enough to where you could hook it up to your computer without having to stand right next to it. Okay, so yeah, I just cut that right there. So you see the little wires, you're gonna have to unravel them, so just go ahead and do that. Well, actually first, there's a little protective part right here. I like to just cut that because it's in the way and we don't need it at all. So go ahead and do that. And then now I'm just unraveling each little wire that is connected to each other. So it should look like something like this. Everything just unraveled together. So for a straight through, the color scheme and like the pin up for it, well, the order in which the colors go, in which we have to put the colors, is white and orange. It might look like a little reddish, but yeah, white, orange. So this is our first one. Then you want an orange one, so I pull these two over here. Then you want the white and green. I don't know if you can see, but yeah, white and green. And when you're doing this, I try to keep them together and kind of do this like this motion to get them to stay together, because you do want them flat and even to each other. But at the end we'll cut it to make it straight, but just to make sure nothing gets out of whack or out of place when you're holding your wires. So after the white and green one, you're going to get the blue one. Then you're going to get the white and blue one, put that next to each other. Now you're going to get the green one. Sorry, mine kind of got out of whack. And I think I accidentally cut mine, but I think it'll be okay for right now. Then, okay, so it's white and orange, orange, white and green, blue, green, white and, okay, so let me start over. White and orange, orange. White and green, blue. White and blue, then green. Then you're gonna get white and brown, and then brown. So once you got that order all together, you want to just hold it tight to make sure nothing gets out of whack, and make sure that they're flat and all lined up together. So luckily I had cut my wire a little bit, but that's okay, because right now I'm gonna, well, once you get it and everything's good like that, you just want to make sure that you have a even straight cut across. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that right now. You want to use your crimper, cut it straight across, make sure it's even, make sure it's on the right, and make sure it's in its right order. So then I crimped it, or I cut it, so it should be even. Try to make sure you keep it in that order, like I said. Next, you're gonna pick up a RJ45 connector. And this is an important step to make sure you're careful with, because the way in which you put it in affects how it works. So this is the RJ45 connector. You see the middle things are at the bottom. So starting from, if you look at it from this way with the clip at the bottom, starting from here is 1, going all the way down to 8. So your first one, you want to have your white and orange. So as long as you make sure that you're holding it like this, this part is facing you. You're just gonna put that in, slide it in. Yeah, slide it in. And place it in. Push it in. So it should look like that. If you're kind of iffy on your things, just try to look at it from the back. See if you have everything lined up. Some of the cords might, I don't know if you saw that or you can see that, but since there is a piece in the middle, it kind of messes it up with lining it up. So there might be some trial and error here when trying to line anything up. Oh, I'm out here. Sorry, interruption. Okay, sorry. So I'm just trying to make sure I have everything right right now, because it does get kind of out of whack and it does mess it up a little bit. You just want to make sure you got it all right, honestly. Make sure you're making it all straight. Try to unravel it the best you can. Some of these cables don't have the little protector piece in the middle, but mine does, which makes it a little bit harder to make sure everything's lined up, because there is a thing in the way of just lining it up. But you can do it. So I'm gonna just keep going. But yeah, like I said, make sure it's lined up, make sure you have it right, make sure you're putting it in the right way. I have my example right here. I believe this is my crossover. So let me show you. This is my straight through already made. Yeah. Once I made one, I try to, and it worked. I'm just trying to replicate that same thing. So yeah, there, I got it. And try to make sure that if you have like some of the wires outside of this, like the end of the connector, try to cut your wires down shorter so that the connector covers the wires and you're not touching wires, you're just touching the cable. So once you got that right, now you're gonna take your crimper. Mine is the 8P, set it on 8P. So if it's this, you're gonna put it through and you're just gonna crimp it. Once you hear that click sound, it should be crimped, but I just like to just keep going just to make sure. Because sometimes when you're taking your stuff out, they do kind of move. So you do kind of have to push it in when you are testing it. But yeah, this is one end of my straight through. So for straight through, it's the same on each end. So I'll be right back, but I'm just going to be doing the same thing that I did on this end to this end. So I'll be back. All right. So I'm back again, and I just finished my other end of the straight through. I don't know if you can see, but these are my cables at the end. They're both the same, which makes it a straight through. So now I'm going to take my cable tester and just turn it on. And I'm going to plug one in right here. And then the other end in here. So if you see, it turns green all the way. So it's good. It's working. So that's a good cable. So now we're going to go to our crossover cable. And our crossover cable is the same process. But this time, instead of doing the color scheme with starting with white and orange, we're going to be starting with white and green. And a good way to remember the order in which they go for a straight through or a crossover. So straight through, you honestly just have to remember the straight through. And then if you want to do a crossover, all you have to do is switch the orange with the green. And it's the same order after that. So wherever you see wherever orange was for a straight through, it'd have been a green for a crossover. But the thing with a crossover is on one end it uses the straight through order, and then the other end uses the crossover order. So here I am with my cable. I'm just gonna cut it to where I think it's a good length. I'm pretty sure this is probably good. I try to do like my wingspan. That's pretty like a good like way to pick which way. So I'm gonna just do the crossover. The other order first, because we already did the straight through. It's pretty self-explanatory, but I'll do the for the crossover I'll do the other side that's different, just so you can see, even though it is the same process. So right now, like we did earlier, I'm cutting through to expose the wires. Make sure you don't cut the wires or you will have to start over, so just be gentle. You can use the wire stripper that's right here, but it was cutting mine when I was doing it earlier, so I'm just trying to use this crimper and just cut it. So again, pull it apart, take off the little protective part if you have it, because it is annoying. Okay, now unravel your wires so that they're all out. Okay, so here's my wires again. Remember, we're doing a crossover one, so this order on this side will be different, but on the other side will be the same as what we did before. So we're gonna start with the white and green, then you go with green, then you go with the white and orange, then we move on to blue, then after the blue you want the white and blue, then you want the orange, then you want the white and brown, and then brown. So right now I already have it all in order. Now I'm just gonna try to straighten it up, make sure it's even and flat. If you go up and down, like holding it with your thumbs like this and then like this, and then kind of like twisting it, you'll get it to stay in kind of place. Right here, if you can see, like, it's all out of whack and they're all uneven, but we're gonna cut it off again like before. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut mine because mine is in the right order. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up a connector. So it's the same thing like the last time. Have the parts facing you if you want to make sure it's right, because the top one would be 1 down to 8. So this is right here, it'd be 1, 8. Okay, so you just make sure you put it in, make sure you do it right. Remember, if you have wires exposed at the end, you got to cut it down shorter so that you don't have any wires exposed. Who wants to be touching a wire? It's part of it's the point of the connector. This is also a protector. Okay. So then you grab your crimper again. Well, actually, make sure you have it right. Always check if you have it right, because I mean, you can crimp it and then you can't take it off. So mine looks pretty good, so I'm just gonna go ahead and crimp it. Do it a couple times. Do a couple squeezes some more. So that's one end for this crossover. I'm gonna do this other end again right now. So I'll just go over that process one more time. Like I said, it's a pretty easy process. It's just, you have to be careful, because if you try to move too fast and you get too cocky, you're gonna mess up. So don't get too cocky. So I did it again. I'm exposing the wires. I'm gonna cut this protective piece off. There's this little piece of string too, so take that off. I like to take that off too, because okay, now you're gonna unravel it like before. So this one is like the straight through one with the white and orange first. So I'm just unraveling it right now. All right, so white and orange, white and green, blue, white and blue, green, white and brown, and then brown. So I'm doing the same process again, making sure they're all flat and even and tight together, so that when we push it into the connector, it's easy to go. You see that? I don't want to move it too much because it'll move it out of order, but you get the point. So I'm going to cut it again, making sure that it's not too long so the wires are not exposed. I'm going to grab another connector, make sure it's facing you the right way, facing you. Then you just want to slide it in. Make sure you slide it in all the way, because you don't want it to be loose or anything, because then you'll have to hold your cord into the server or wherever you're plugging it into. So I got that in, no wires exposed. So then you want to crimp it. There you go. So for a crossover, you have our original order, which was the white and orange. I don't know if you can see that. You can barely see it, but trust me, it's white and orange on this side. And on this side, it starts with our white and green, and it follows the order. So right here, I have my crossover. Hold on, let me check to see what my other one. This is also my other crossover. So here are my 2 crossover cables. Right here. One is longer, but it's good to have both, I guess. So that's right here. Oh wait, let me test mine actually. This is the one I just made. Sorry, I have a little cough. Okay, so now we're gonna test it and then we'll be done. So I'm gonna do the same thing. Put it in one end, and then you're gonna put it in the other. Oops, my thing came out. Okay, so this is my crossover. It went through. It's all green. So my cables are good. So I showed you how to make a crossover cable and a straight through. Just remembering to understand the order of the colors, because that's what makes the difference. Making sure that you know that a straight through is the same on each end, while a crossover has one end like the straight through and one end where green goes first. And always make sure you at least have like a tester or somewhere you can plug it in. A lot of computers today don't have an Ethernet port, so make sure you get to a PC or at least get a tester so you're able to test that. Yeah, and just make sure you clean up your space and make sure you have all your materials once you're done. And that's it for today. So thank you. My name is Maya Smith again. And I showed you guys how to make a crossover and a straight through cable. Thank you.